This is what's called a hotspot. See how wet it looks and red? A dog can get an irritation, a scratch, a hive, due to flea bite or due to food allergy or due to pollens and mold allergy or a scratch. And then they'll itch it until it turns into a huge sore like that. It's called the hotspot because it's very warm and inflamed. In order to see if it's a hotspot, I make an impression smear. That way I can look at the cells and whether or not there's bacteria under the microscope. Now what does staph infection look like under the microscope? Let's take a look. All these little dots are bacteria. So basically what we have as we look around is you see the cells that are fighting the bacteria and then just tons of bacteria. And you can see the bacteria are the round little spots and chains, and the white blood cells are the bigger areas. And these infections can start from a hive, a scratch, or just licking at a collar that's too tight, and these hot spots can spread rapidly. So if you're at home and your dog gets a hot spot like this, you can always start by just gently washing off all the, there's lots of exudate, so you can use Dawn detergent and you can wash off all the slime, the slimy bacterial infection, the mucus, the skin, the serum actually. You can wash off the serum from the skin and the bacteria with some Dawn detergent. You can see where, as I wash off, the brownish discoloration, what you're doing is you're getting all the serum off and the crust so that the antibiotics that you put on the skin will work. Sometimes what I'll do too is I will actually cut the hair, but this might work because I didn't know how painful this little one would be. So, and you always got to be careful because these can be very painful, and some dogs will snap when you're trying to wash them off. So you can see how it's getting all the crust off. So what you do is you get some water. This has a disinfectant in it, but if you're at home, you'd actually get some warm water and put some Dawn detergent in it, and then you just wash it off like this. And then to rinse, you just use a water rinse, or you could even use a very dilute vinegar rinse, and that will kill staph and yeast, which are the common problems with this type of hotspot. If you have clippers, you can't clip the hair, but that's usually something you don't have at home. But I'll just show you how red the area is and how the infection's starting to go down. Sometimes they just get so tired of all of this, but he's being very good. What you would do is you would put some cortisone or antibiotic ointment, and it's probably easier to put on your hand, wash your hands up real good, and then just rub some antibiotic ointment like some polysporin and some cortisone on the hot spot. Of course, if you, for one this big, or if they're really painful, you should really go into a veterinarian. But I'm assuming you're watching this and either don't have the money to go in, or it's not really a bad hot spot, or you just really need to treat it on your own. So we washed it up, we put some cortisone ointment and antibiotic ointment on it, and so that will really help. And you can see how the little pustules are starting to go down, and then those start out like that, and then they all join together to make this red area, which is just this whole solid red area is just a whole bunch of these. So what I'm using some dexamethasone, which is a cortisone, along with the cortisone cream I put on. This shot of cortisone will take a lot of the pain away. And if you're at home, you could use Benadryl at 1 milligram per pound. You can use aspirin. One adult pill per 30 pounds, it's 325, or one low dose, or 81 milligrams pill, and you can give half of one of those to smaller dogs. Well, this is where I usually recap the treatment I talked about in the video. So let's just go over it again. A hot spot is a big area that's infected and can start out small, but usually a dog chews or licks it into a huge area. It's a staph infection, but it starts out as an allergic reaction, It can be a bee sting. It can just be a scratch. It can be in a hive, the hives can result from a bee sting, from pollens and molds or contact with grasses. It can result from a food allergy, which means those biscuits and treats and dental chews with all that wheat, a new one can cause it. It can be caused from a collar or a tussle with another dog that starts out as a little tiny wound and they lick it into a big old hot spot. I've seen sometimes where dogs on their pads, they will just get a little tiny scratch in between their pads and they'll just lick that into a hot spot. The saliva in dog's mouth and the moisture, the saliva contains bacteria, and the skin has bacteria on it, and the moisture and the warm oozy serum all make a really nice home for bacteria, and they spread rapidly. Those bacteria have toxins in them that irritate and really make the skin painful and red. And then what happens is, once that happens, then the staph spreads, and you get a pretty rampant infection in no time, just a day or two. A spot can go from the size of a quarter to really big. So like I said in the video, you can wash it up, but be really careful, because if your dog's not a nice dog, or if it's really painful, they might bite. And if it's really bad and you're not sure it's a hot spot, what if it's something else, some other kind of infection? You probably should get it seen by a veterinarian. But if it's not too bad, you think you want to try washing it off with some warm water and Dawn detergent, and then go to the store and get some polysporin and some cortisone, you can certainly try it, but I advise you to get it checked out just as soon as you can. But I do these videos because I realize not a lot of people can afford to go to the veterinarian, and on emergency visits, that's really expensive. And sometimes you can treat it yourself, and then the next morning, if it looks better, you can say, oh good, I don't think I have to bring it in. But remember, hot spots and ear infections and diarrhea can all be caused by allergens in the food. Flea also, well, let me back up. It can be caused by flea allergies, allergens in the foods, and pollens and molds. But if your dog's on a flea control product, or you don't see fleas, and you've just changed the treats you're feeding them or the food, then really think about that, because you can really do a lot and help your dog out a lot by not feeding them the things that cause reactions. Anyway, well, have a good day, and if you're interested in finding out about healthier foods to feed your dogs and how to cook for your dog and cat in a crock pot, check out dogdishdiet.com, and I have 2 books, Feed Your Pet to Avoid the Vet, and Dog Dish Diet. And Dog Dish Diet just talks about allergens basically, and what you should feed and human foods you can feed, and how you can even cook for your dog in a crock pot. And then Feed Your Pet to Avoid the Vet has a few more recipes. It's mostly a crock pot cooking recipe book. It's not a free download, but it's a download. I think it's about 15 bucks, and you can get it from Amazon and from my publisher's website. And I talk about home cooking because with all the recalls we've had lately, it's just kind of a lot of my clients like it, and it's a fun thing to do for your pets, and your pets will love it. Even if you use it in combination with other foods, it just gives them that opportunity to have whole, natural food without a bunch of additives in it. Anyway, well, have a great day.